Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Art of Thirsty Sword Lesbians. I'm April Walsh, the game designer. This is Trivia Fox, our art director. We are hosted by the Actual Play Twitch channel. Thank you very much, Sean Nittner, for doing the behind-the-scenes production. And all revenue from this stream will go to Black Lives Matter and the Trans Legal Defense and Education Fund. And trivia, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and talk about what it means to be an art director and what else you're working on?
Yeah, so hello, I am Trivia, and I use no pronouns or they pronouns. And so I am the art director for both the first Thirsty Sword Lesbians book and our currently being quick started first expansion to Thirsty Sword Lesbians. And so what that means is that I've worked with April and also the briefs sent in by other writers to bring to visual life their wonderful ideas for Thirsty Sword Lesbians. So, as far as what else I do, I'm also associate producer of role playing games over at Renegade Game Studios, which is my day job. But this is the fun part where I get to do direct a bunch of art about lesbians. So I'm really excited for us to show off all this art and talk to you all about all the little headcanons that April and I have been putting together for the past year now, maybe a little longer.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it is. It is absolutely a really fun part of making a game is getting all of this beautiful art and also sneaking in little OCs. And I think there are places where we have different headcanons too for some of the storylines. And I would love to hear in the chat what all of your headcanons are. I don't want to foreclose any of those by saying, this is my OC and here's where they come from. I want to hear they're in the book so that they can show up in your stories and have more adventures, and that's super cool and super fun. So I think we're just gonna start right at the cover of the original core game. So this was the first piece of art that we showed off in the Evil Hat era of Thirsty Sword Lesbians. So there was an itch release that I had done on my own. It was a Google Doc made as a PDF with one piece of art, which is in the core book. It's still in there, and we will highlight it when we get to it. But then in the new era, in the era that you all probably know, we got an updated logo from Hannah Templar of Cosmo Knights fame, and this gorgeous cover art by Kenesha Bryant. And these are two of the iconic characters that you will recognize. You will notice the Devoted and the Chosen. And in my headcanon, these are the specific Devoted and Chosen who show up in the play examples for the space opera type setting. So Temok the Devoted and Rivon the Chosen, they have little adventures in the play sections. And the first Easter egg is the name Temok is first level. It's just Comet backwards. That's cool. It's also a gender non-specific Nahuatl name that means the one who descends. And since Devoteds are bottoms, it just works on so many levels that had to go with that as soon as figured all of those things out. And I see appreciation for the Chosen's holographic hair. They have different hair every time you see them. That was Kenesha's inspiration and idea to put that in. So you see it's a little bit pixelated there. And we really wanted to highlight that this is a game that is not from the male gaze, and it's fun and it's welcoming and it has these intense moments, but you can tell the Chosen is having fun here. Everyone's having fun. You're going to have fun. Come in, play this game. So Kenesha just did a fantastic job with the art. Unfortunately, this was before Trivia's time, so I'm monopolizing that conversation a little bit
No, it's
until
fine.
we get into the book. And then the other thing I just want to point out is my little Gay Spaceship Games logo at the very bottom there. So Whitney Aaron Delagio, who is the designer of the game Prism and who wrote one of the settings here in TSL, designed this for me. And this is, let me zoom in. So this is the gay spaceship. This is the shape of the spaceship. And then here's a sort of rainbow trail behind it. And it's just, it's my ship Sona. So that's the other subtle little thing on the cover. And
My
go ahead.
favorite part about the cover is on the physical version, which I just realized is in the other room. Oh no. That the spot UV, their little sweat drops is shiny. Like when I got it in the mail and I like put it up to the light, I was like, I love spot UV. I was like, whoa.
Right.
Like the dedication to the bit, right? Like just that only like the whole cover is matte except for like the logo and then there's sweat drops. It's so good. I love it so much. Okay.
And when you zoom in, you can see those sweat drops. You can see the little lip bite that's happening here. It's just very gay from cover to cover, as it should be. So now we're getting into it. This is our first big splashy piece of art. Trivia, do you want to take the first crack at talking about this one?
For sure. So this is our fantasy group of possible PCs. And so I like to consider these ones like the messy polycule. Like there are definitely some other poly groups in the book, but this is like I would say the messiest group at the moment that we see them here. So in the lower left, we have the Nature Witch, who to me is like the baby gay, like just figured out that they're, into these things, just figured out that, they're not cis and that they've been brought into this triad, right? But that they don't know what what they're expected to be or anything like that. They just have whatever they've come into it with from their own history, right? And then we have the scoundrel back there with their mask, who's the like big gremlin energy of the group, who's just a little creature, kind of down for whatever, but also the person that's probably hardest to get to know because they're always like either making a joke or avoiding a situation, something like that. And then I said scoundrel, I meant trickster. And then we have the scoundrel in the front, who is the like seasoned pro, quote unquote, of the poly relationship. But it's more just because, she's got the most experience, not necessarily because she's figured out the healthiest way to go through all of her relationships. And so I like how like one of the things I love about this project is how much the playbooks and everything like that speak to like being messy and like the need to actually grow and heal and improve and communicate and everything like that. So these three are like my little snapshot of like how this game can show and teach navigating complex relationships.
And I love how the artist, Matt Batt, captured that sort of wonder and excitement for the Nature Witch character and the fun and the flirts and like, yeah, the mask blushes. Why not? So the secret, the Easter egg backstory for the trickster character is this is one of my OCs, Michaela, who is a mimic. And we will see some more of the like monstrousness. By the end, you've got like the whole maw opening up in her midsection. When she's more comfortable, but that is the in-world reason why the mask blushes. Is it's all mimicry, and the flag back there is a sapphic pride flag designed by Shireen Okuda, who is a coworker of mine actually, and who has a neat little explanation of the symbology of that and gave permission for us to use it in the art. And then the scoundrel character we had a cultural consultant help us design a pre-colonial Filipina outfit for her. And that is in part appreciation for all of the fantastic designers out of RPGC, and also it looks amazing. So these are our first sort of little group of iconics. We wound up doing batches of iconics by genre. So these are our fantasy iconics. There are some space opera iconics. There are some modern iconics, and they tend to show up together. But we will bring them together for big crossover events like the cover of the expansion that we are quick starting right now. I'm gonna scroll us down and find the next. I love this one so much.
Oh, yes, yes. This is another Kinesia piece. And so this is showing the like human players, like real life players of the space opera setting. And so like all the body diversity in this, age diversity, like I'm just over the moon about this picture. It makes me like immediately transport to like a queer house in Seattle where like everybody's just playing tabletop on their like shitty IKEA couch. Like it's just perfect that vibe. So I love it so much.
Yeah, we've got like the pizza on the table. This is the player for the Scoundrels getting so into it. Spooky Witch has this cute spider sweater that I want. The Beast with the cat onesie. The Infamous, so she's playing Tenta, obviously a big affection for squids. And we have the GM here, or the Chosen here. But it's fun.
So good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I see this in the chat. We all feel very called out by like every piece of art, by the way. Like as we were like emailing back and forth, you know, I'd send something to April and it'll be like me, and April would be like me, like just back and forth the whole time. This is all us. Like
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to the self-inserts yet.
um so this piece is by Nay, and this is our definitely not gender flipped Star Wars storyline. Just to really point at some awesome fan fiction like we all grew up reading, and this is the oh no, I hurt you with my sword. Are you okay? Oh no, you have to take off your shirt so I can bandage you. Oh no, you're so ripped. Oh of our not Leia and it was Hannah and
these are Hannah, who is not given a last name. Maybe if she showed up at like a Imperial checkpoint alone, they would assign her a last name, like Alone or nobody else. And then we have the rebel leader getting rescued, who's got like doesn't have her hair up in like cinnamon roll buns, but has the side shave with a spiral pattern in there. So just a tiny bit of homage, in part to highlight that one of the alternative names for this game was like /fic the RPG. There's a big resonance with fan fiction and looking at the stories that we receive in mass media and finding them not adequate for queer representation, and then retelling them and building on them so that they actually will represent us at all or not harmfully, and so on. And so this is inspired by that kind of moment and mode of play. And I love her muscles too.
She's so strong.
So here, this is the next one, yeah. So here we commissioned this amazing full-page illustration of the Lesbians Cafe, and then discovered that that was a typo in our art spec document, and we didn't actually have a full page to give it. But Fred heroically found a place to to show it all off because it is really neat. Trivia, do you want to talk about the Lesbians Cafe?
Yeah,
And we
so
can go
this
out of order if you want to.
for sure. So this is done by Ryan Kingdom, who did a fantastic job of making like everything that they've worked on is just so like cozy and inviting, and everyone looks like friendly, and it's so we can talk more about the actual setting a little later, but the vibe is that this is like kind of a um magical reality coffee shop, right? So like the place that all of the queer folks can come between like the magic world and the modern world, and it's like a safe space. And the barista down in the second level is one of my favorite characters. I have concept art for them. If
Yeah,
it's
I
if
know
it's
them. Like I know that person. I
yeah.
didn't tell trying to draw them, but
Yeah. I here, let me share screen real quick and I will show this off. Oops, not the whole screen. I don't want to do that. You stop that. I need just my little window. You don't need to see all my icons. There we go. Um, all right, so here they are. And my goal was to have like a trans mask, non-binary character, and a few years ago I'd found these really beautiful like EDS braces for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I've been waiting to see where we could like where I could include it in a project of mine. And it happened. It's time. So with this like magical world and being able to include some like cool fantastical ideas, like having somebody who could make really beautiful metalsmith braces seemed to fit right in. So here they are, and I love them so much. And yes, let me see if I've got anyone else. I'll save Eustace and such for when we're actually talking about lesbians, but
cool.
like I have like two friends that are absolutely this barista minimum. So yeah.
And we've also got the "Can you spot all the cats" game
Yes.
because there's this very prominent cat, but right here there's a little cat hiding up on this branch. The Lesbians Cafe is also a cat cafe. It's magical. Why wouldn't it be? And this is one of the settings contributed by other authors. This is Dom Dickey's setting, and we will get to that later in the book. But I'm glad we found a place to put that big, beautiful image of this cafe and this
Fred is
person's gay
amazing.
panic talking to the queen
Yes.
of the magical realm. We've all been there. Oh, well, this is one of my favorite pages just in general because it's the one that sets the tone, but we're focused on it's one of the ones that sets the tone, but we're focused on the art. Hannah, so Hannah Templar, um, did this one, and it's not subtle, but there also are Easter eggs that I can point out. So if you look in the back here, you'll see a trans pride baseball bat. And there's an art collective in the San Francisco Bay Area called the Degenderettes. And they make art such as pride bats, pride bricks, and other objects that you can use for peaceful gay activities. And this one has somehow wound up through the windshield of a police car. And it's a little nod to the very cool things that they do. So check out the Degenderettes and fuck the police. Anything you want to add?
No,
Trivia?
I've the when we all got this in, it was one of those like, yes, and we know like this is exactly where it goes in the book, and it makes its point perfectly. On we go. Like there wasn't a lot of back and forth on this one. Everyone got it. So
Yeah. And I continue to love the Beast style. Like we told Kanisha, because one of the themes of the Beast is you are expressing yourself in ways that might not be acceptable to people around you. So we're like, Kanisha, just give us a wild outfits. Give us loud and fun. And I think this is the main iconic outfit that Hannah brought into this art as well.
Like I'd wear that. I think
Oh
I
yeah.
have most of it.
Oh, here we go. It's Tenta.
Tenta time.
Yeah. So we've got here Tenta facing off against the devoted character that we know from the cover, Temok. Uh, Tentacula Stronktopus Bloodsea is the iconic infamous. And here, these little flags that she's wearing. This eyeball is the symbol of the Void Empire. You'll see it on the mecha of the Empress later on, and you'll see that Tenta has torn it off in the iconic moment that's pictured in her playbook art. So that is picturing the moment that she is leaving the Void Empire because she has realized that she is wound up working um, for people who are colonizing her world. And then the other symbol, this Krakeny symbol, is the realm of Bloodsea that is her home. So her story here is that the Void Legion came to her world, pretended to be friends from the stars, struck a deal with Bloodsea that would give them control of the planet, and conquered everything. So she gets a little description in the Starcross Galaxy setting. And here also, Kanisha has this sort of like horn looking design where a couple of her tentacles have a habit of raising up. So here, all of the recurring characters, there's a little bit of like a story arc that Trivia brought in where the first time you see them, they're going to be earlier in their journey. So here we're seeing Tenta being a badass, being a villain, and fighting for the Void Legion against our hero Temok the Devoted.
And the pose was absolutely ripped directly from Princess Bride for sure. The amazing sword fights on those staircases, so that, which, you know, just like in Princess Bride, Inigo Montoya figures out that he's on the wrong side. Ta-da! So does Tenta. So,
Yeah.
I love the tension in this one, and always Kanisha's colors, always. So, yeah.
And her expression. So
Mm-hmm.
good. All right, now we get to see Michaela doing the mimic thing. So Michaela's real face is showing, has turned one arm into a big spike and one arm into claws. And Kanisha originally, you'll see in the iconic illustration that you don't see any of Michaela's sword except the point. And so Kanisha had notes like, is this a stinger? Is something? It's something tricky, which I love. But she is on her pirate ship, backed against the wall, but cocky and revealing her true form in order to get the. I guess this is the Thirsty Sword Lesbians equivalent of "I'm not left-handed." Is I'm not a humanoid biped restricted to one form with only one mouth.
Exactly. Like, oh, you don't know what you just got into. All
Right?
right. Yes.
And Michaela comes from just fiction that I write with a friend that has been going for years now. Um, it might have originally been for a game, but the game didn't happen. And so we had to give the characters their lives. Trivia, do you want to talk about
Yes.
this one?
So we also included a small like Edo era like lesbian samurai sort of romance. And so Kiku Hughes did the art for this one, the storyline as a whole, and it's super gorgeous. And like we were going for like little of the Edo woodcut style or watercolor style, and I think that Kiku hit a really great like melding of that with some more like modern techniques. And so we've got the antagonist seeing the reflection of the protagonist in her blade before she starts her attack. And so this one, like the story always gets like build up more in like our minds than we're able to show. But so they were childhood friends, and then something happened that tore them apart. She ends up becoming a samurai, and um
Yeah,
going back. Yeah.
a swordswoman. We're sort of
Yes.
we leaned away from samurai because of the oppressive
Thank
role that
you.
samurai played in historically,
Hmm.
which our sensitivity consultants and artists helped clue us into. Um, so they, let's see. I think maybe they don't actually get mentioned, but these are the characters from some of the examples. I'm pretty sure figure out a person. I'm just going to skip down and go out of order here. Oh no, here we go. So these are Masako and Ryuko, the two characters. And so you can see the masked vigilante who's been executing supposed evildoers is none other than her childhood friend, Ryuko. So the history there is that at one point, Masako convinced Ryuko to show mercy, and it didn't go well in that instance, right? Masako had this like general principle that mercy is good, and maybe over applied it, or maybe it was just a situation where it was a risk and it didn't work out well. And so that led to Ryuko's adoption of the philosophy that you don't give people a second chance to hurt you. And so they're both, very intense. They have intense emotions. They used to be really close. Ryuko blames Masako for the subsequent suffering that she went through. And so Masako is derived from an OC of mine that I played in a homebrew campaign many years ago, where I really wanted to get to play this arc out. And so they wound up being in the example of play, and then we were able to illustrate them. And I love the just reflection in the blade. I love everything about this one. I think Kiku's art so good.
Someone in the comments has said, "Childhood friends to enemies to lovers."
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
There is more art of these two characters in this book before the end. All right. So we've got more Temok. Temok has a lot of illustrations early in the book, and this is a rough one. So here we're illustrating fight, and one of the things about fight in the game is there's always a cost to it. There's no option to just do some violence and have no consequences. Your opponent always gets to choose something that's going to affect you. And here we've got highlighted the cybernetic arm is getting just torn by this Void Legion captain's weapon. And we're seeing just sort of the intensity of a TSL fight where they're actually going for each other. This isn't an excuse to flirt. They're actually fighting and injuring each other. And this is another Kanisha, and it's fantastic. I love it.
And our first view of the reference to lesbian icon. I had her name, and then I just dropped it immediately, even though I just rewatched all of Star Trek Next Generation.
Well, Denise Bycross is a captain in the Imperial Legion.
Yes.
And is sort of, everything wrong and imperialistic about Starfleet and the Federation, but just those parts, or maybe the Mirror Universe if you want to go there. Mm-hmm. But the Starcross Galaxy is sort of a mashup of different sci-fi themes, and can encompass stories that are Trek-like, that involve exploration with some commentary on the original. So there's some homage there, and they should have treated Denise Crosby better and kept Tasha Yar in Star Trek The Next Generation.
Absolutely.
That's what I have to say about that.
I'm glad she came back at all, but she shouldn't have had to go in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
our modern,
this is your storyline. Tell us.
My babies. Here we have the first of the modern other than the Beast, who we saw before, of course. Um, but so this storyline I built with April's help to be kind of a like reclamation of gentrification in a way. So we have a story of I'm gonna forget everything that I know in this talk 'cause I didn't bring my book. Um, what is her playbook's name?
The
I'm feeling
Seeker.
The Seeker. Thank you so much. I was stuck on Scoundrel again from earlier. So that we have the Seeker in her first like fighting back against her job, which is like corporate real estate. So we built this company that's like it's corporate real estate. They're all rose themed. So like that's her boss's sword, which has all these thorns on it, and she's fighting back to protect her friend, the Beast there. And the Seeker, I really wanted to have some asexual representation in the book. Like I'm demisexual, so I gotta make sure that there's a little something in there. And so we have this whole storyline with the Seeker and the Beast, and they're just buds, right? So you can have thirsty sword lesbian stories that maybe nobody kisses. That's fine. It's totally cool. So um, the Seeker can sometimes come off as maybe um, not as aggressive or not standing up for herself. And like this is the first time that she like fights back, and it's to protect her friend. So I love it so much. Hannah's so good.
And you'll see as it could be her dad.
Yeah, no, it could totally be her dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That adds a whole other layer of like queer,
Yes.
yeah, sticking up for your queerness. Canon.
Yes, absolutely.
Um,
She's now the daughter of the boss. I'm into it.
yeah, but you'll see like she sheds her sort of corporate rose outfit as everything goes on. And I'm gonna zoom in on the Beast's face, because I mean obviously this is great. This is the focus, but just like look how gay she is.
She's like, oh.
Like she was probably very concerned a moment ago, but now this is wonderful. This
Oh,
is
strong.
this is a good moment. Oh, you want to
Oh yeah. So
introduce? Yeah.
sometimes we would have like just a couple of pictures that or a couple of briefs or whatever that didn't really fit in with a specific storyline. And so that was an opportunity to have like very tiny little stories. And I believe this is the Lady of Chains, which maybe is one of your OCs, April. And
Only from the example text. I think she was like the first OC that I just made up for Thirsty Sword Lesbians. But the scoundrel here, Vosh, is based on an OC from a one shot. I was playing Agon one time with Sean, who is listening and making the producer things happen. And this was during a phase when I was like trying out any system where it would fit. I'd be like, what if I play a thirsty sword lesbian in this system? How does that feel? So I was a thirsty gladius lesbian in Agon, which is a Greek mythology epic hero kind of game. And I did the thing that is in the little entice example of play, where I'm like, oh yeah, the hot enemy warlord, I'm going to just leap onto the moving chariot and seduce her, and rolled a low number and got completely seduced. And I was like, oh yeah, all right, I'm this warlord's arm candy now. This sounds like a good remainder of the scene. I'm into this. And sufficiently into it that it is the example of play for entice. So this is the moment where Vosh thinks that she's leaping onto the chariot to seduce the Lady of Chains, and Lady of Chains clearly has other ideas for what's going to happen.
And I was looking at this being sort of like a Viking-ish, Norse-ish, Northern European thing. So we got some like cool like apron dresses and cloak chains and everything like that. And this art is Faith Schaefer, who, if you like sword lesbian, at least women with swords, Faith Schaefer is somebody that you should definitely follow on every platform imaginable, because there are a lot of absolutely gorgeous um, women with
Oh,
swords.
I want to read this comment. What is this? Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, so here's the Entice example of play where Vosh is getting chained down. It got a little more details in the retelling, so enjoy that.
Oh.
Yeah, everyone just take a breath, take a breath, and get ready to talk about
Yeah, do you want
this
to zoom in
beauty.
on that one just a little bit, just
Yeah, I
for my
do.
own?
Of course I do. Yeah.
So this is Countess Mordrella Fang, I do believe,
Mm-hmm.
who we'll get to more later, um, interacting with the spooky witch, and the this is one of the ones that I definitely sent to my wife as a sketch form, just to say I'm gay, and she responded back, "Yes, you are." So that's all been cleared up, and this is one of my favorite pictures, and I love it so much.
It's really good. It's
She's
really
just trying
good.
to figure her out. Like that's what it's about. This is
That's That's right, because this is the illustration that goes along with the concept that just because you're in a physical conflict doesn't mean you're rolling fight. You might be trying to figure out the other person, like this, for instance. Um, so in my headcanon, this Spooky Witch is also the Spooky Witch character from the examples of play in the space opera setting. So they go with Revon and Temok, and have that cute scene where they teleport in together with Temok into the Blood Princess's bedchambers and wind up doing the rom-com thing of landing on each other. And also, like snails. So if you have played the Spooky Witch, you know the Spooky Witch likes snails. And there is a little Easter egg in every illustration of the Spooky Witch. And right here, it's a little snail pin um, on what is left of their shirt. Just also love how like nasty this sword is.
it's
It's like
very.
a barbed bone sword.
I'm trying to remember
It's
the
gross.
description from the brief, but it was like a barbed bloody bone sword, like very like vicious sounding. I mean, she's a vampire. What are you
She
gonna do?
is. She is a buff vampire. She predates that Resident Evil lady
Yes.
Dimitrescu, right? Like she is from the same primordial gay as the giant sexy vampire mommy. Oh, this one I'm gonna have to go to spreads view because we had several of these where they would span across the page. Do you want to talk about like art direction when you get these weird shapes?
Yes, so this is probably one of the more challenging things to art direct in a book where you have to have something that spreads across the two pages. And then for bonus difficulty points, having a long um, line that is then gonna bisect in that page gutter. So the key there is just to try to not have anything interesting in there, which Fred very helpfully pointed out on every panorama.
Mhm.
And if you do make it something not too bad, because people will forgive a lot if they've got an open book. But here we do have Ryuko and um,
Masako.
Masako, I almost said Mitsuko, Masako, in their duel. So it's finally come to blows. And then you have the example of play below hand. But I love the note on Ryoko's kimono where she's got the belts that help hold up her long sleeves so they're out of the way. I love those little details like that. Like her hair's up, her sleeves are back, like she's ready for some long polearm sword business.
I think it's entirely possible that the reason she fights with the Naginata is so that we could have this space for this illustration.
Something nice and long, so they don't have to cross their swords in the middle of the page. Oh my god. Uh,
But I don't know. We could get deeper into it too, because like she is so concerned about being vulnerable and giving people a chance. She wants to keep that
keep them
distance and
at.
just end them from afar. And the intimacy that you get, particularly in Thirsty Sword Lesbians, when you've locked blades and locked eyes, is something that she wants to fend off. So
Yes,
yeah.
that's how you keep people far away. Put the end of your sword, what, about 5 feet
Yeah.
on the end of a stick.
All right, I'm gonna zoom back in. um, but yeah, here we are on a beautiful forested planet or moon of some kind with an overgrown bunker. This is Hannah the scoundrel. This is the moment that she's all like, "You ruined my sword. Give me your shirt." And the rebel leader is having none of that. And poor Lucia, the like cinnamon roll nature witch, is just trying to de-escalate the situation. But scoundrel's gonna scoundrel, and uh, at least they don't have their swords in their hands at this point.
Yeah, this is a witty banter time, not time to cause more damage. I think the original like title for this brief was but there was only one bed or something like that, if I remember correctly.
That's amazing.
Well, they're all going to sleep in that bunker. But
Oh
there's
my god, yeah,
only
I
one
had no
bed.
idea there was only one bed in the bunker. That's perfect. I love that. That bunker back there, it's there for the explicit purpose of having only one bed. I love it. And it also, like, this sort of highlights what's different about the scoundrel stories in TSL versus something like Star Wars. You're not going to do like a creepy Harrison Ford aggression. You're going to have a character who is recognized as being a scoundrel, like in the narrative. You know that they don't have, the best emotional tools. There's a whole like, why are you like this in the scoundrel? So like, why is it that you can't be vulnerable or commit or stick with something? And so it winds up being a story that's not sort of portraying, yeah, give me your shirt, I'm gonna like loom over you as like a way to romance somebody.
Is it effective? We'll have to find out.
What was that?
So is it an effective strategy to say, give me your shirt to someone else? We'll have to find out.
Oh, the rebel leader is Karif, of course,
There we go. Yes.
which is a Carrie Fisher homage. Finally kiss in a dangerous situation.
Yes. So back to our fantasy group, and our trickster is throwing off her mask dramatically. We don't have to worry about the physics of that if she's a mimic and it's supposed to be
Sometimes it's
attached
a
to
real
her.
neck.
Yeah.
You want to be able to pull off the fake mask and toss it aside and show off like a fake face that you've constructed, and then they think they've got you, but there's a whole other layer.
Having a little smoochy smooch. While looking at where to kind of set this story, it was really great to look at some of the like gorgeous islands and like rock formations of everything of Southeast Asia. And there's just some gorgeous places. If you haven't looked at, beautiful pillars of Southeast Asia, I highly recommend it as a calming Google search because they are amazing. And the thought of going on a lesbian adventure in a boat through such a place makes me very happy. So it was very fun to put in these pictures.
I love the continuity. Like, this is where the cloak got torn in the image where she was showing off her mimic face, and it's still, so the cloak is real too.
She's not naked. Come on, just because she's a mimic. She's got a cloak on.
Yeah. Look at these shoulders. Oh my god.
Okay, so yeah, this is you know, I'm totally down with this being her dad, the Seeker's dad, or CEO, what have you, of this you know, corporate real estate company. And when Hannah sent in the sketch with these shoulders so huge, I was like, yes, absolutely. Like, I grew up with anime. I love big shoulder on a villain. And I just love it so much because it's like a suit coat, but it's it's also, you know, 6 feet wide. And so the text that this is attached to is the, you know, appealing to a toxic power, I do believe.
Yeah.
And so like when you have to go back and ask dad for a favor when you have, you know, left the company or whatnot, right? Like trying to come back and get something done and appeal to something that you thought that you'd left behind. And oh, my heart. It's so good.
Yeah. Calling a toxic power is one of the less often used basic moves, but it's always rough when you wind up going there. All right. Oh, look at this. It's queen makeover time. They've all got to infiltrate the pirate gathering. So they're all putting on their pirate costumes together, dressing up the cute blushy nature witch baby gay. It's so good.
Yeah, like this is one of the plot points that didn't get too many images, but in their narrative, right? Like they have to go to like a pirate meeting or whatever to go grab a scroll or whatnot to get something done, and so they infiltrate. And this is in the examples of play, but I love that, like, again, the little nature witch baby gay like has never been doted on before like this, and now, oh my goodness, 2 people are dressing. Oh, they're fixing my collar. You know, I love it so much.
Smitten.
Yes, very smitten.
And there are little birds on the hat. Look at this. Look at these tiny birds. Is still a nature witch, still adored by chicks of all kinds. All right.
Oh,
Here we are. We got the playbooks.
Okay, yeah. This. So this is another Kanisha, and again, when she said it, it was like, oh my god.
Right.
So we have a few little vignettes happening in this image. In the upper left, you know, we have Spooky Witch and Tamok talking while, like, you know, doing makeup, fixing, you know, cybernetic arm, what have you. In the foreground, we have our darling Tenta, who's discovered fish pornography on the space internet for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And is losing it. And then, of course, we have the Chosen there in the background who is noticing that this is happening. Like, oh, so that's what you're into. Very interesting.
Yeah, I think the Chosen is excited about Tenta starting to discover, you know, her sexuality outside of the confines of the Void Empire and her upbringing.
Yes, the little lip bite with her sharp teeth.
I know, little sharky lip fight. So good. It's classic Tenta.
Somebody put a good comment in of one of my favorite game night quotes is, "Can I text a toxic power?" Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Love that. Yeah, we got the iconics. So these were the first run of art that we did for for the game before the Kickstarter. So we got the logo, the cover, and the iconics, and that was sort of what we went into the Kickstarter with to highlight what the like vibe of the game would be. And because most of the art you have to wait until the text is all laid out, and then you know how much room you have, and then you commission the art that you need for that. But we knew we were going to have iconics, and we were going to make it work in the layout for the playbook. So the Beast, I love the Beast. I love the Beast so much. The Easter egg here is if you look closely, it says "Uwu" on the top here.
I didn't notice that.
There's an Uwu
Fantastic.
hidden in the Beast's top, but just beautiful. I love calicos. So maybe you can go through the iconic of the little feet. Okay. Oh yeah. So interspersed here, it's not just the iconics. We've also got basically for each playbook, we wanted to illustrate more than one way that you could conceptualize that playbook. So we've got the iconic, and then we've got someone from like a different genre or mode. Like here, you could play a beast who's a mech technician and pilot and everything. Trivia, do you want to talk about this process?
Yeah, so the little mech storyline is, I believe, only 2 images, and again, Rhine Kingdom. And so we had an idea for like, kind of a grubby mech technician that like doesn't play by the rules, like makes their own mech, and also has a physical disability, so they're in a chair, and so the vibe in the storyline was like getting pushed aside for piloting jobs and things like that, like people being like, you'll never do this, et cetera, and they're like, I'll make my own mech that will hold my chair, thank you very much, and now I can do just as much as anyone else. So like just having that kind of like gremlin energy, and then also being incredibly smart and capable was what I wanted to go with here. So I've got, when we get to the next mech image, I've got like the concept art that Ryan put together for this character, which is very good, and I love it.
Yeah. I remember we had so many like cute ideas for the character and oh yeah, the concept art. You have to share that because it came back furry and adorable. And
yes.
like, this is amazing.
Okay, I got it. But
yeah. The other beast is also furry. We don't want people to think they have to be furry. And I feel so bad like asking for this furry person to
be
not,
less furry.
Right? But
yeah, here, I can
it would just be confusing. Yeah, because they're adorable and we need to show them off for sure. But I remember all the different ways we had envisioned of like the mech holding the character in the hand and other possible ways of showing them off. But look at that. Look at how do I want to make this. I don't have this window maximized, but I want to look again. I want to see this person.
Yeah, cute little.
Yeah, look at them. Okay.
Yeah, so, I love it.
Shapeshifter. Let's go with that. They're a shapeshifter. They can be that adorable
be a furry
character.
when they feel like it. Yes.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. Okay. There's so much. We are like almost at an hour, and we're at page 50. I mean, we can't skip our appreciation of the Chosen with that beautiful holographic hair.
Wonderful. Beautiful.
And the sword microphone. That was part of my description for this, is I wanted it to be like a sword with a microphone on the end of it, and then you would swap over to battle. So that's what you see here.
So good.
Or vice versa, right? Like you're in the middle of a battle and then you just start singing. One of my PCs that I'm playing right now does that all the time. I think it's time to sing. The devoted, so majestic. We wanted a femme NB with muscles, right? There's no heterosexual explanation for this shoulder. and the costume design.
I also
This
love
is
that
yeah,
Tamok like has a unibrow.
right.
Like it just isn't like busty or anything like that, and all the peacock vibes going on in there. It's just like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
chef kiss.
So she's got she is super femme, um, and that doesn't require any constraints to her body. She's got this beautiful bulge going on down here that is in the cover art, but it kind of shows up at the very bottom, so you can't see it as clearly. I love the sword design, the peacock stuff, also good, so good. So
Oh,
here is Masako's grandmother giving her the sword and sort of imparting, trying to impart the values that Masako was trying to live up to, and maybe wasn't applying enough nuance or whatever when she did it, or it just went awry. But that's what this moment is. Tenta mentioned before the ripping off of the logo of the Void Empire. Just loved like the gnarly sea urchin epaulettes and like coral armor and everything. So she winds up in the space setting, but is from this planet that's more of like a fantasy setting. So, or like a space fantasy kind of setting. Oh, and she is an OC from a game of For the Honor, by MX Quinn, which is a GM-less game for telling She-Ra type stories. So Thirsty Sword Lesbians started getting play tested before the new She-Ra came out, and obviously was in process as the show came out. And so I was able to take a character that I made for that fan game and bring her in here. Look, there's just so much to love about the Nature Witch. We've got this like gnarly, cute dragon. We've got the geode sword with the little spider in it. We've got Burb. Very interested in this floating rock, right? Just what's
it
not to
just got
love?
so much going on.
What's
And
not to love?
it's so wonderful. And like no shoes. Like don't need that. Just walk.
Ooh.
And that's that. So yeah, with each playbook looking at having some more examples. This is like a techno version of a nature witch, and I believe is the spaceship an option for the spaceship? Yes, or am I making that up? Is this
I
just a
I think it
one-off?
could be. It's got the right colors. It's got the right
Yes.
colors to be Zephyr, who
Yeah.
is the gay spaceship Sona, um, and is sort of characterized by this color. We'll see her later on. But I also love that the artists added these funky. This was Kanisha, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, added these funky geometric drone things. And this is one of my favorite Easter eggs, but we're gonna have to zoom in for it. Look at this paw. The drones have toe
Digital
beans.
pause. Digital
They
pause.
they have toe beans. It's just so good. They're adorable. But Zephyr's like that. Zephyr would do that, and is doing some kind of thing. This might actually be. There's a lot of lore for Zephyr. Zephyr is my gay spaceship Sona, um, and so this might be a depiction of the specific like weird engineering thing in the middle of her that I'm not going to go into. But or
I think
maybe I
that's
should.
it.
Maybe
It's
that's what
like
we're doing on this stream.
it was like Zephyr in Zephyr's own like
Yeah.
zone.
So Zephyr is the ship and has an android body and also has these sort of drone components that are controlled by her overall consciousness. And in the middle of Zephyr, there is a like technobabble pseudoscience containment unit that has black holes in it, and that is the power source for because she was built as a weapon of mass destruction by the Void Empire and has repressed at this point her memories of ever having been used. She thinks she broke free before they ever used her, but that is not true. And when she finds out, it's trauma time. So that's what we're doing on the stream. We're going into the behind the scenes and the headcanons and everything. But yeah, then the rules purpose of this self-indulgence is to highlight that you can play a techno witch, because the nature witch is about your connection to environment and basically organisms that are free from the constraints of what's taught to us about gender, right? Like a horse doesn't notice when you transition and isn't going to like judge you or shun you.
A horse won't gatekeep you.
Yeah. Gallop, gaslight, gatekeep. It's not a thing. That, yeah. That scoundrel. We love her.
Yes.
She's just got like all these love letters.
Spearing
and
one
we
with
will
her
see
sword.
a love letter reappear. This is going to be a theme. But she's got flowers and another love letter. There's also a subtle thing here, which is that the style design is pre-colonial, but she has stolen a sword from a colonial power. Like this is a sword that would have been associated with the people trying to oppress, and being such a devious, sneaky character has stolen that away from them, possibly from the person who wrote them this love letter. We don't know. Here is Hannah, the space scoundrel, flirt racing with someone in another space hot rod.
My favorite part of this image is the look on the other person's face, who is not interested at all in space racing. But Hannah certainly is gonna. Just so nonplussed. Like, what? It's just a stoplight. What? What do you?
Yeah.
I love.
There are a lot of playbooks that let you play a goof. The scoundrel, definitely. I think one of the examples is Pirate Shimbo for the archetypes for the scoundrel, which was inspired by a playtest at Victory Point Cafe in Berkeley, where someone played a scoundrel and played them as a Shimbo pirate. I'm like, that's great. I love that. Let's do it. So here's the Seeker in a sort of intermediate stage where the jacket is still on, but she's not really wearing it. And she's contemplating the rose, which is the symbol of her organization / maybe family. And she's still holding her thorn blade, her viney thorn blade. But the iconics generally are capturing a moment where something is happening, where they're making a decision or they're showing off a cool thing. And this is that sort of contemplating, because the Seeker is not yet past the being steeped in the lessons of their toxic society. Do we have a second? We didn't have room to fit a second Seeker, but oh my God, the Spooky Witch.
Spooky Witch.
I love her. Yes. She's got her Phantom Spider, who is also an OC. This is Gildy, the Phantom Spider, who was the OC of a D&D character that I played. This was the Familiar, so has shown up here. The Spooky Witch is original to this game, to the examples of play, and then the art that Kanisha did. But I would wear this eyeball bikini. Like, I would wear that.
And again, like, you never see, like, or I don't see, fat folks, even if you see a fat folk in art or whatever, but with like stretch marks and things like that. So
Right.
this picture is just like, like you can be hot and have stretch marks and wear a bikini and a little short skirt. Like it's
Yeah,
cool.
demonstrably.
Legally, nobody can stop you. It's fine. So just do it.
That was
Put on.
also like, go ahead.
Oh no, you got.
Just like one of the objectives of the art is to like set the tone and say like we are celebrating everybody, and if you're not excited about that, then the game is not for you. And like I read a hate thread where it's like, oh, that's that game, like the title sounds like it could be good, and as long as the lesbians aren't like fat. And then they look at the art and they're like, aha, we got them. Like, this is exactly like, honestly, this is a safety tool. Like I gave my game a title and an art style that will repel people I don't want to play with, and that is intentional and highly recommended as a game design practice. Because like if you don't think this is rad, like
This probably isn't
that's
the
your
game for you,
problem.
and there's a whole bunch of other ones that will fit
Yeah.
the bill. My
Uh,
diplomatic description. Yeah.
I will point out the little snail zipper on her ankle. You all can see my mouse while I move it
Yes.
around, right? Yeah, that's the little hidden snail because she likes snails. This one, you were the driving force behind this one, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to have like a badass like goth knight sort of spooky witch too, and so I pulled on my love of Bloodborne a little bit here for their familiars, for the messengers from
Mm-hmm.
Bloodborne, and messengers are just some little guys that give you presents every now and again, and you can get a little white ribbon, and then the messengers wear little white ribbons, and they look just awful, like they're all like skeletal and terrible little things, but to you eventually are like, hey little guys, and you're really excited to see these ghoulish little things. So I thought that would be a fun ad for Spooky Witch that has that kind of like, I get something that no one else does. Like these are my friends, and other people
Mm-hmm.
might think they're monsters or whatnot. So
No.
yeah.
I see Michelle just thought that she was a giant, which is also valid.
Yes,
That's
also
good.
very valid.
Yeah. Either way. But yeah, we wanted to show the spooky witch kind of being alone in an isolated setting with regard to what you would expect from like human interaction, and not alone because this is where the unseen are comfortable coming and being with them. So that's the vibe. I think it came out really well. Here's Michaela, the trickster. We have a beautiful diagram of like eyes, mouth, etc., like superimposed over.
I'm gonna go
Uh,
see if I can find that while you talk about that, because I
yeah,
totally
I'm gonna
spaced.
move past it. I don't. I actually could. We didn't set an end time. What's your end time, trivia? How late do you want to talk
My
about
wife
art?
isn't home, so I can talk as long as I want. I don't got dinner plans.
Great, Sean, weigh in the little
Yeah, Sean, if
dialogue
we're
box.
keeping you though, please
And
please don't let us.
um, because yeah, this is what I've got going on this evening. Um, we did a lot of work on this one. I remember, and it came out so good. So this is, if you have read the little um, example of play bit, this is they have stolen whatever they're stealing from the pirates and are making their escape. Michaela and our nature witch are being useful, and the scoundrel is just taunting the people as they run away. So we're back on their ship with the lesbian pride flag. We got this green glow to show the nature witch is summoning some wind uh, to help them with their escape. And it's just showing them working together in action. Mostly the scoundrel's taking a moment to taunt, but
And Sean's got 20 minutes, so
okay.
no worries. So, oh, and here's the other side of the that Norse setting with the Lady of Chains, who's now gotten the scoundrel sword.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, Uh, that's probably not great. But yeah, so we don't know how this ends, but
Mm-hmm.
here's the mid one.
Because I definitely maybe. I mean, we should do this again. Maybe
Yeah, I mean we have to do it for the stretch goal one for sure.
it's true.
Yeah.
We should definitely show off the cover for the stretch goals before we sign out for tonight.
Yes.
But yeah, another 20 minutes is good. Is good for me. So here we have our Mecha Beast fighting the Void Empress in her big mecha throne, scary thing. So you see the symbol of the Void Legion again, and here's the Empress being all furious about it. So we get to see the mech in action.
And I got the concept art for those pulled up too. 'Cause I'm kind of a mech nerd. I build
Oh yeah.
I build Gunpla and everything like that. So it was very fun to be able to design some mechs. um, let me see. Is that showing up okay for you, Sean? Yay, thank you. So here were the two first options. We went with the one with more contrast because it's a little easier to see. But just this big bug friend with a nice like big chassis to hold, the beast chair and everything. And then here's the void mech. I really love the design of 5-star stories mechs, which are really like elegant and pointy and very complicated to put together. You need glue. I haven't done one yet, but I pre-ordered one, so it was exciting to get something around that line. So here you go. It's a big, tall, terrifying robot.
I scroll down to the next emotional beat for our fantasy heroes, where the scoundrel has clearly been a scoundrel, and poor baby gay nature witch
Or BBK.
has been hurt, and it's really sad. And at one point, this was the last time we were going to see these characters in the art for this book. And
I think after the fight was the last time we
oh,
were going to see
yeah,
that.
that's right. There's one more. That's all right. Well, I'll tell that story when we get there.
Oh, this is another spread.
This is a full spread, yeah. So this is leaving Tenta's home, also known for completely non-evil reasons as the Doom Zone.
The sad little waving tentacle.
Yeah, old tentacle waving goodbye. The volcano of the Doom Zone has become the base of planetary operations for the Void Legion. There is, in fact, but let's just appreciate Tenta's muscles for a moment. Okay, so there is, in fact, a good explanation for why the Doom Zone is called what it is before the Legion shows up and makes it their home, which is it is a volcano that is near inhabited part of the island, and you don't build too close to the volcano. That is the Doom Zone. And they show up and they're like, great, there's no one there. Bloodsea says they can put their base there, and they've got the tech to just build a base on the volcano and use its power. So that's why it's completely non-villainous that they have a volcano lair called the Doom Zone. In case any rebel propaganda has reached you, to the contrary. All right. Here we've got the Void Legion symbol on our Captain Bycross character, and she is menacing our poor. I love the way you describe them. Do you want to talk about them?
How did I describe them? Oh
I
no.
think you called them like nasty rat people.
Did I? No, they're cute little furries. No, they're kitties, aren't they?
I think they're cuties.
I
Yes, I
think no,
do.
cute. Aren't they kitties? Like
So
cat-like a little
they're
bit?
they're like in between a cat and like a dog, a little bit of camel in there. Um, and this is my character niece, who is a sneaky spy OC in her space opera setting, and this is my OC Trista, who is a sort of jaded bounty hunter character whose home was conquered by one force and then another force that wound up being just as oppressive as the first. And so she would be an infamous in TSL terms, where she starts out just thinking that like all sides are equally bad and there are no good like forces and it's not worth trying. You just got to look out for yourself. And then through adventures and everything, regains some of that hope and idealism. So that is them getting cornered. And here's Nice again. Clearly, they made it. They're okay, because here she is chilling with Revon the Chosen and making fun of the galactic premiere poster for Captain Muscle versus the others. I adore. This is another Kenesha one, and they're just like,
Very
look at this ridiculous propaganda.
heteronormative,
Mm-hmm.
hollow film.
And that's connected with this example countdown, where there's this propaganda campaign with blockbusters and everything, pitching the values of the big media conglomerates that are in bed with the imperial government. So some real world Disney commentary there. You made this. Trivia
I
made this.
did. I did. So yeah, we needed a sort of explanation of the structure of a session, and I figured, hey, I can put that together, and I did. Ta-da! With April's hello, my name is Lesbiab.
I still think it's funny.
I do too. I like it. But yeah, just cute little icons. I felt like directing that would be harder to do than for me to do it.
Yeah, like you would basically draw it all and then tell someone to draw it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's
oh, here's you. You're here
it's
now.
guilty self-insert time. So I love, like, this is what the artist thought a lawyer's office was like. Like paper books. But
a monstera, a nice little seating section.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe if I stayed at a for-profit firm and made partner or something. But here they are researching. They're trying to use the law to protect that community space from evil Rose Dad. And so this is me, obviously. This is what I do for a living. I lawyer and carry around a rapier and flirt with cat girls. So
that's why you went to law school.
Yeah,
so
that's what I mean. Don't go to law school, but but if you did and wound up in this situation, that would be that would make it worthwhile. All right. Oh yeah, so here we're showing off our characters. Lynette's, I guess, the spooky witch, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can acknowledge.
I think this is when they fall in the bed, if I remember correctly.
Oh my god, there are even more OCs sneaked in here, because some of these names are just characters that I played in other situations. But that's we're not getting to that level of deep lore right now. But yes, this is indeed when they fell into the bed.
Oh, so embarrassing! I fell right on top of you.
Yeah, oh, doesn't it look terrible?
Oh, your muscles are so strong.
For everyone watching, like this is basically what it was like working on the art direction together. Where we're just like, tee hee, and then this happens, and I'm so gay. Glasses
One of
flying
the
off. Love it.
best projects.
Just and we're so lucky to have you working on it.
I'm very, very honored that Sean reached out to me. I I read the email and then like went and like screamed in the other room and then came back to write yes. Is how
Yeah. So we have exactly made it to the halfway point of the book, and we've got like 9 minutes left. So I'm going to suggest we talk about this one and then like look at the cover and get hyped for
That sounds good.
the
And then
expansions.
absolutely.
Because there's a lot actually to talk about with this one. But basically, like the overall vibe is now we've got like Tenta and Revon are on the same side. They're doing their thing. Revon the Chosen is looking all fancy and confident and is probably doing something involving their destiny, which we know Temek has mixed feelings about, but that's left for the examples of play. And then this sort of translucent holographic figure is Zephyr the Gay Spaceship's persona in holographic projection form. And she is cupping in her hand a little projection of the spaceship herself. So this is like the external hull. It kind of looks like it's maybe out the window behind there, but it's not. And now you know. And Tenta's got this patch on her arm, which you will also recognize as my like Twitter icon. It's the Gay Spaceship logo with the rainbows on either side, which I always picture as like, yeah, I'm flying through gay space. So it's all rainbows all around the spaceship. And very subtle lesbian pride stripes over here. I remember we did some edits to make this shirt look less like a real world military uniform. And just gay. And
just
the
a gay jacket
on scanners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the just that cool ass cockpit. Like I like that you can see little Void Empire in the back, like they're tracking something, and there's also like a lady's face on one of the monitors back there, like someone's got something up while they're working.
Right, like right next to this Void Legion looking ship.
Like, hold on, pause that video. We have to look at this for a second.
Yeah, I feel like this console spike might be like a OSHA safety violation. But on the other hand, she was built as a weapon of mass destruction, so I don't know if safety was the first consideration. Yeah, so I'm gonna pull up the Advanced Lovers and Lesbians, our expansion, so that we can talk about the cover art and leave everyone wanting more, because we've covered like a quarter of the art that I want to talk about. So what do I do here? I stop sharing this one.
Yes.
And then I start sharing the other one. And I'm narrating this so that Sean has some warning before I... Okay. I'm going to stop screen, and I'm going to share. A window. The ALNL window. Boom. So hopefully you all can see this gorgeous, gorgeous cover that Hannah Templar did for us for the stretch goal compilation, which now we've been able to turn into a whole other book. So thanks to over 8,000 backers, we were able to fund the creation of tons more playbooks and settings and adventures and rules hacks that everyone got digitally, and then realized that the page count of all this stuff was more than the core book. This is 50 pages more than core TSL. And we got to do art for all of it. So we're just going to talk about the cover this instant because that's all we have time for. But this is something that it calls back to a classic D&D player's handbook cover where you have a group of entirely men looting some temple and they've murdered some kind of lizard. And we wanted from the cover to be communicating how like that's not what this game is and critiquing the focus on those things in other games in order to highlight how different this experience is going to be. So we've got all the characters gathered around this this big statue, but the statue has long flowing hair and is making cute eyes at the scoundrel. The eyes are glittering. So instead of being like a gem that the protagonists are here to pry out, they're participating, being flirty and doing something that like both entities enjoy here. The lizard has not been slaughtered and is instead tied up with a big old grin. Let's zoom. And just having a moment here with our iconic chosen. So we did this art in parallel with the new iconics. We didn't have the new iconics yet when we did the cover art, so it's the old iconics are back, and they
we have a good question in the chat of did the seeker take the picture? Yes. 3, 2, 1, say cheese is the seeker.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe Tarxie's a seeker.
Mm-hmm.
When we get to Tarxie again, I will talk about Tarxie's origins. But I just love that we got like the thick tail and the thick thighs. Just essential. And they're all looking at this little love letter. You can see this lipstick print and everything. Even like the little spider in the sword made it in. So it does a lot of work to differentiate and critique and make something new in dialogue with the places that the hobby has been before and the art that the hobby has used to represent what it's all about. So, all right. And the ampersand, let's zoom in because this is... Go on. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm finding the artist's name, so I am polite.
Yeah.
Steph did the logo design, and gave us a bunch of different options for ampersands, all which were a wonderful swooning woman in the arms of some sort of monster, and I love it so much.
Yeah. So we've got this swooning pirate, I think, in the arms of a mermaid. As the ampersand. So it came out really well. I love it. But that is just about time. So to see more of the art for Advanced Lovers and Lesbians, go back the Kickstarter. It is 274 pages of beautiful goodness and more ways to play the game. And we are going to talk about all of this stuff at some future occasion. But get excited because it's great. It's I have almost played all of the playbooks, but there are 19 official playbooks now. So many ways to explore different stories and so many settings. So go check that out. There should be a link in the chat.
There is.
And follow me on Twitter at GaySpaceshipGMS. And Trivia, do you have anything you want to plug or any other
Yeah.
good night? Yeah.
You can follow me too on Twitter. I'm now Dark Deer Trivia. I finally got rid of all of my underscores, so now
Congrats.
my Twitter account is easier for people to remember. And we'll have to do another one of these soon to go through the second half of the book, and then another one to go through the stretch goals. So,
Right?
yes.
Yeah, I think there's probably more art in total in the stretch goal book because it's longer. So
It's so much. I'm so excited to show it off and
good.
show it to everybody.
Well, let us know also like what you thought about the format, because my plan would just be do it again for another block to finish out everything. So thank you so much. Thank you to Actual Play for hosting us and Sean for doing the tech behind the scenes, and for all of you for joining and sharing your own headcanons and everything. So I will see you around the internet, and at a time to be determined, we'll do another one of these little streams.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.